Hey, good morning and welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Football, TITTH number 173. I'm your host, Justin Bruni, but I've got Mr. Emron Khan with us this morning. How are we doing, sir? Happy Sunday. Welcome to week 2.
Happy Sunday, man. Love the routine, man. Sunday mornings, nothing like waking up during a Sunday morning in the football season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unless you're on the East Coast and you have to wait till the goddamn afternoon until 1 o'clock for everything to start. You know, I kind of miss my noon starts in Illinois, but, you know, I'll take what I can get. You know, after this show, you got to probably like an hour and a half or so before football starts.
Yeah, a little bit of tinkering time with the fantasy lineups.
Yeah, exactly. Got to be staring at those lineups, do some tinkering. I like it. Check out some last-minute injury issues, you know, guys that are getting pulled. I'll actually have those up here on the bottom screen here in a moment. But how's everything going, man? You ready for today? You got any big plans?
Ready for today, man. Hoping that me and the fam can get together in a big prayer circle and hope that Nagy puts in Fields and leaves him in this time. You know, I got the New Jersey, the orange Fields now. Hoping he gets to play, but just looking forward to a lot of good games today, man. I know we're going to get into them, but just really excited, man. How about you?
Yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Excited about the Bears, too. Should be a good matchup. You got Andy Dalton going up against the Bengals. I hope the Bengals pull it out for us and get that dude pulled out of that game early. All right. Still like the Bears in that one, though. Before we get into it, any best props or bets that you have for this week?
Props, or you said props and bets, or either or?
Whatever. Your best stuff. What do you got?
Yeah, so the games I'm really on is I really like I know we're gonna get in the game later, but I really like Tyler Boyd against the Bears. They're really weak in the slot, and one of the props that I got is Cooper Kupp ate him up last week. I think one of the props I saw on DraftKings that I had my same game parlay is him for, I think it was over 44.5 or 49.5. I can't remember, but I think the way this game is, they're going to guard against the deep ball, but I think he's going to eat him up in the slot because they're very weak. So I love Tyler Boyd. I also really like, what I like to do is look at these games that I anticipate are going to be high scoring matchups. So I like the Cardinals and the Vikings this week. Kyler Murray's rushing prop I saw was at 43.5. I love the over. It's just a part of who he is. It's not that you're hoping he scrambles. He's going to run. And the Vikings defense isn't that good. So I think he'll be in the 50s, 60s today.
Yeah, the Vikings actually let up 149 rushing yards last week. So that was top 3 in the NFL. So I like the upside for Kyler there. I'm chasing some really low numbers in my props. I've got Cole Kmet over 3.5 catches. He had 5 last week. I've got Nyheim Hines over 3.5. All of those wide receivers for the Colts are banged up. It looks like Pittman and Campbell are going to be playing. They're going to be healthy enough to give it a go, but they've been banged up this week. So I like Nyheim Hines as well. Also like a sneaky start out of Jack Doyle there. Also like Tony Pollard, another high scoring game, right? I think the total's at like 54, 55 points.
High as hell.
1.5 catches for Tony Pollard. I don't know where they're at with that one. So
and Gallup's out too in that game, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So even a little bit more upside there. I'm also starting Dalton Schultz, who was a kind of a flyer last week for them. That's kind of like in a deeper format, though. All right, let's jump into some flex questions. We got Delusional Tanner here in the chat asking Robert Woods or Damian Harris in his flex half-point PPR can't start both as he has Keenan Allen, Diggs, Zeke, Mixon in his starting spots. I am going Robert Woods. How about you?
I'm going Robert Woods as well. I think that Rams offense is money, and I think the Colts defense, it can be had.
I mean, it can be better. It can be better this week, but I just think that Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are just going to be solid with Matthew Stafford. After what we saw last week in week 1, we shouldn't have any doubts about starting Henderson, Kupp, or more Woods at any time.
And the crazy thing about that offense is their secondary pieces are really going to mess with defenses. Like Van Jefferson, we saw had the big touchdown. Deshaun Jackson is still there too. Those are 2 speed guys you got to guard for. And so I think Woods and Kupp are just going to clean up like they did last week.
Yeah, having those guys that can scream down the middle of the field or down the sidelines definitely going to open up a lot more opportunity for, the safer options in Woods and Kupp for certain. All right, let's jump into some of our flex questions. Tanner saying thanks. Appreciate you dropping by, Tanner. Lost last week after starting Julio over both of them. That's tough. That's tough. I still like Julio this week, though. I think he is going to bounce back. But let's jump into some of our flex plays. Right out of the gate here, looking at Ryan Tannehill or Kirk Cousins in Superflex. Which way you going? Both matchups are going to be high scoring. Cousins gets the Cardinals. Tannehill gets the Seahawks. Or at least, the books have it as high scoring games, high totals.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Tannehill. I just think the Titans are a very well coached team with Vrabel. They got their asses kicked last week, right? There was also a lot of turnovers in that game that kind of helped the game get out of their hands. And I think this week they're going to focus on making sure that doesn't happen. You're going to get a lot of Derrick Henry that's going to open up that play action. And I know Tanner had felt the pain. I did too last week of starting Julio. I think this is going to be a big bounce back week for Tannehill. I think he's just a better quarterback, and I think their offense has more pieces. So I'm going to ride with Tannehill over Cousins.
Yeah, I agree. And I still think like the Vikings are going to come out and play kind of conservatively to start. I think we all expected some more fireworks from them early on in that matchup against the Bengals, but they really like to bring out kind of a slower game flow to start things out, try to feed the running backs, specifically Dalvin Cook. So I'm going to go with more upside for Tannehill this week. Obviously, you still have some big running backs in that game with Derrick Henry. I think he's also going to bounce back, but at the same time, I think Tannehill's going to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns in this one. So I like him a lot. Next up, we've got Trevor Lawrence versus Sam Darnold. I'm leaning toward Darnold still. Any love for Trevor Lawrence in a tough matchup up against the Broncos?
No, unfortunately, I'm really concerned. He had, I think, 3 interceptions last week against the Texans defense, run by our old friend Lovie Smith. But that's not a really good defense, and he struggled against them, which none of us really expected to happen. So I'm thinking I'll probably go with Sam Darnold. I like the Panthers against the Saints this week, and I think the Saints might have been I don't want to call them a paper tiger, but I think that might have been a little bit of a mirage. I don't think their defense is that good. So I'll ride with Sam Darnold this week.
Yeah, I'm going with Sam Darnold as well. With me, it's just CMC. Like you have like one of the best running backs in the league right there. He's going to help you move the chains. He's going to help you with some quick hitters. And you still have DJ Moore and Roby Anderson, who I like a lot this week as well. Maybe Roby Anderson, not as much as DJ Moore. It sounds like Marshawn Lattimore is going to be healthy for this one. We got Orlos in the chat. Good morning, Jimmy. Saying, good morning, gentlemen. David Montgomery or Melvin Gordon for his flex this week. Really quick, Jim, is it standard or PPR? Let us know. But I'm still leaning towards David Montgomery in this one.
I am too. One thing Nagy did that he said he was going to do was feed Montgomery. And the only reason he didn't get more was the game got away from him. But he was, and the Rams defense is good. He was cooking them. Like he had as a PPR, I think I'm still going with Montgomery. Like Williams is there, but like, I think the writing's on the wall in Denver, right? That Javonte Williams is going to take over eventually. And this Bears offense, I think, especially this week after the mess last week, I think they're going to really ride Montgomery. And I like that matchup against the Bengals defense, which I think will give up some points. And I think he's going to catch more this week as well.
Yeah, and I just think that Montgomery is going to be the identity of this offense, specifically with Dalton in the lineup. And that's just the best way to protect him. Keep in mind, Dalton didn't make a pass attempt downfield beyond 15 yards, not once in that game up against the Rams. I know the defense was stifling, but at the same time, that's going to lend more upside to your running backs who are going to really need to be the operators and moving the chains, right? So give me David Montgomery there. Even if it was standard, I would still go with them. We've got Dirty Dog picks in the chat. Love the name. Pascal or Fant for our flex position. That's a tough one. I'm actually probably leaning towards Zach Pascal. I think he caught a couple of touchdowns last week, actually, and it seems like he's the healthiest receiver there. So I'm firing up Zach Pascal. What do you think, Emron?
I'm going to agree. I like Noah Fant, but I think the problem with Noah Fant, it's going to say weird. He's in a better offense. There's more people in that offense that can eat and take away targets. And I think Zach Pascal had the 2 touchdowns last week. We were just talking about Hilton's gone basically for the whole year, right? Campbell and Pittman are playing, but they're not healthy. So basically, last man standing is Pascal. So I'm going to go with Pascal because I think he's going to have more opportunities and just because no one else is around him.
Yeah, and he looks like an early favorite target for Carson Wentz. He's got to pick on somebody. We got Sarah in the chat. Miss Riley asking, half-point PPR, need a wide receiver and a flex. Boyd, Chenal, Ayuk, Eli Mitchell, or Javonte Adams. Sounds like we can pick 2 here. Pick a receiver and then pick your flex guy. I'm actually going to go with Chenal here. He had kind of an underwhelming week 1, but at the same time, he had a lot of targets. You'd like to see more yardage, but I think that of him, Boyd and Ayuk, I'm going to go with Chenal, and then it's really tough between Eli Mitchell and Javonte Williams. I actually think that Trey Sermon is going to eat more so into Mitchell's role this week. They're going to kind of be a dual backfield. So I'm going to go with Javonte Williams, who I think will actually be a very serviceable running back this week, not only in garbage time, but I think he's just, he had a decent amount of usage, I think like 9 to 11 carries in week 1. I think that's going to equate more production this week in a plus matchup up against the Jaguars, who gave up a ton of yards last week on the ground. What was it? 120. 120 yards on the ground last week. I know that they're playing at home, but at the same time, I still like Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon this week. The reason why I told, Montgomery over Gordon to Jim is mainly because I think Williams is going to have, a pretty reliable role this week. So going to go with those. What are your picks?
So I'm actually going to go a little bit differently. I'm going to go actually with Tyler Boyd and Laviska Shenault. So I think Tyler Boyd, like I mentioned earlier, in a half-point PPR, I think he's going against a really good matchup against either, Marky Christian or Duke Shelley in the nickel, and I think he's just going to eat.
Okay.
I think he's going to have a really solid game with yards. And then of the folks available, Eli Mitchell, unfortunately, I think last week was I think it was really overblown. I know everybody's been running to grab him. That's a committee. They didn't trade up for Trey Sermon for nothing, right? So unfortunately, I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd, and then I'm going to go with Laviska, because I think Laviska, the way that Jags offense goes, I think it goes through him as well. So I think he's going to get, rushing opportunities. He's going to get receiving. So I think he's just going to get more touches. So I think there's more upside, and I think they're going to be trailing. So you might get a late touchdown.
All right, fair enough. Those aren't bad options. Let's move along here. We have another flex question of our own, Kenyon Drake, Devin Singletary, or Marvin Jones. Pick one, Emron. I like Kenyon Drake.
Same. I like Drake as well. I think that offense, even last week when Jacobs was there, I think he had 5-6 catches and I think about 9 rushing attempts. So 15 touches when Jacobs was there. Jacobs isn't there this week, and I think this is a matchup where I think they're going to be trailing. I think the Steelers are going to get on top of them early. So I like Drake here. I think there's going to be a lot of potential here.
Yeah, everyone's running to Peyton Barber right now, like Saturday, Sunday waivers kind of, and I'm not really with it. Like the Steelers front group, they're going to be very strong. They are going to stop, the running pass in between the tackles. They're going to make both of those guys bounce outside. And I like Drake more, as a pass catching back. I think we all assumed he was going to have a role this week regardless, just because of how strong that front group is for the Steelers, right? So even with Jacobs there, he should have had a good role. He should double down on that now with him out of the lineup. So definitely getting Kenyon Drake into my lineups this week. I do have him starting on like 1 or 2 spots.
Same.
Let's see. We got another question here. We got Sawyer Heebs in the chat. Emmanuel Sanders, Henry Ruggs, or Sammy Watkins.
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
That is.
Sammy Watkins gets the revenge game versus KC. Sanders, he didn't have a great week 1, but he was targeted a lot, and he was targeted downfield a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's my start here. What do you think?
I'm going to go Watkins, actually. I like the revenge factor, and I think the Chiefs secondary, I don't know if they've announced if Tyrann Mathieu is going to play this week or not. They were, that's a big part of their defense overall when the Honey Badger's in. So I'm going to go with Sammy Watkins. I think same thing. The Ravens, right? They're depleted, right, in the receiving corps. Somebody's got to catch the ball, and there's always that extra factor when you go against your old team, right? So I think I'm gonna go with Sammy Watkins, and unfortunately, Ruggs, he's just MIA, man. Like he's just, that's just a big disappointment. So I'm gonna go Watkins.
I hit a Ruggs prop in that Monday night game. I actually hit 5 of 6 of my picks, and I hit the Ruggs prop on literally in the fourth quarter, 2 plays.
What was it?
It was like his yardage. It was like 42 yards or something like that.
Shit.
And he hit it on 2 catches. I was like, holy hell. I had written that off like 3 quarters ago. The guy hadn't touched the ball, right?
Oh, shit. This is still alive.
One of my picks, though, a pick that I didn't actually bet on was Edwards to hit the under on his catches. And at the end of the game, he went over on his.
Yeah, he went crazy at the end.
Crazy. He had 4 catches. It was a career high.
But it was like 80 yards. I mean, for him, it's crazy.
Well, yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to our next one. We've got Myles Gaskin, Darrell Henderson versus Roby Anderson. This one's a tougher one for me, but I'm going Darrell Henderson. I really like the Rams with Stafford at the helm. I think this is going to be a high-octane offense. Definitely believe they're going to put up a lot of points today. Roby Anderson could have Marshawn Lattimore duty today. I don't know. What do you think about Gaskin, though?
Gaskin, I just think that I love him as a player, but I feel like, Brian Flores doesn't want to commit to him as a lead back. He's still doing that nonsense, a little bit of a committee and spreading out the workload. So of the 3, I trust Darrell Henderson. And kind of watching the game last week, I think we saw a sneak peek of the Rams formula. I think they're going to throw it all over the game. And when they get to the fourth quarter, like we saw last week, they're like, all right, we're just going to run the ball and you can't do anything about it. And I think that's what they're going to do this week. Yeah, and that's where I think last week Henderson had, 50 of his 60 rushing yards and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. And I think I think he's got a role in that offense. He's got a specific role in that offense, and the other 2, it's just a lot of question marks.
Right. I like Myles Gaskin this week. It's just that matchup against that Miami front 7. It's a little less desirable than the Henderson matchup, so I'm going to go with him. Roby Anderson, like I said, he could be on that Lattimore Island this week. Not really sure what we're getting. Lattimore, he was coming in questionable was thinking that, there was going to be some more opportunity for Roby this week, but I don't know. I mean, they had a very easy time shutting down Devonta Adams. Robbie Anderson's a couple levels behind.
Yep.
All right, let's move on here. We've got next up Laviska Shenault, Jacoby Myers versus Tyson Williams. Ravens running backs, they're pretty desirable. Also a favorite of fantasy players alike. What do you think here?
Tyson. I'm going to go with Tyson. I think he had a good week one. I think he kind of showed what he can do in the offense. That long touchdown run. He's an explosive player, and I think this is going to be a shootout with the Chiefs and the Ravens, and he has a pass catching ability. So I think overall volume, I'm going to ride with him.
All right, I'm still going Shenault. I talked him up a little while ago. Should have a fair amount of targets this week. Looks like the most reliable target for T-Law in my opinion. I think DJ Shark had like 12 targets or something like that, and only 3 catches. I think Shenault was like 7 for 9, something like that. So I still like him more. Tyson, like the upside because you're a Ravens running back and you're playing with the running back 1 and Lamar Jackson, but the dude couldn't block, man. On Monday night, like they're going to constantly be going back and forth between Lat Murray, Tyson Williams. We may even have to worry about Lev Bell at a certain point. So I just don't like the question mark of that backfield just yet. I think as Tyson can start to develop as a pass protector. I mean, literally, like I don't know if it was Carl Nassib or Max Crosby, but one of these guys literally just like it was like the cleanest, just like, oh hey, by the way, you're about to get hit. Like there was no time whatsoever. So I think that missing piece of his game is going to kind of hold him back a little bit. But you got to like the upside in PPR and just the ability to take one to the house. He took a 35-yarder to the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up we've got Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett, and Chase Edmonds. This one's a little bit more difficult. Where are you going?
It's hard. I'm going between Tyler Lockett and Robinson right now because I think Lockett, again, that's Titans and Seahawks game. I think that's going to be high scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to probably go with Tyler Lockett. I want to go with A-Rob, but there's just so many question marks at quarterback. Like, it's a great matchup for him. I think he can feast on the Bengals, but, I don't know if they're going to throw it past 4 yards, right? If he could get some jump balls, I'd like the opportunity. But, Tyler Lockett had a couple big plays last week. That Titan secondary got toasted, and their Seattle's at home. So I want to go with Lockett, but I want to say if Robinson gets better QB play, he could be, he could be very viable as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Chase Edmonds. I think that Vikings game is going to be, it's going to be a shootout. Going to be back and forth. Going to have a reliable role, catching the ball in the backfield. I'm going Edmonds, and I'm pretty much just to that because it's a tie between Robinson and Lockett. I really can't decide. Lockett had a booming week 1, but is that going to be the same case in week 2? I'm not really sure. You could see Seattle get up by a lot and park the bus. That's kind of a game I might be, actually trending to the under on. I'm not sure if the Colts are going to play their role. So give me Edmonds. I think he has the safest floor of those 3. Next up, we've got Mike Gaseki versus Hunter Henry. I think I'm leaning towards Hunter Henry. It sounds like Jonnu Smith is a little beat up, questionable. I'm not sure if he's going to play the full snaps this week.
I am as well. And Gaseki, I really like Gaseki coming in the year. He was really concerned last week with the goose egg, right? That's really weird. You think he would have gotten something last week. But I think I'm going to go with Henry as well. I think that offense is designed to go through tight ends. And I think they made a big investment in him. So especially if Jonnu Smith is out, that's just double the targets available for him. So I'm riding with Henry too.
Yeah, I'm going the same way, and I'm starting Henry in at least one fantasy team, so I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Just the upside with Jonnu Smith maybe getting less playing time. Mike Gaseki not looking as good in week 1. I think Henry's an easy choice there. Next up, we've got Rob Gronkowski versus Dallas Goddard. Gronkowski had 2 touchdowns in week 1, had 90 receiving yards. Tight end 1 territory?
I want to give a little bit more time because there's a lot of mouths to feed on that offense, but this week I'm going to have to go with Gronk. They're playing the Falcons who – boy, we were giving a lot of shit to the Texans and the Lions last week about the worst team in the NFL. The Falcons they didn't score a touchdown. They didn't score a touchdown at home against Philly. Philly's defense isn't that great. Like, I'm really concerned, and I think and their Falcons defense got toasted, right, by the Eagles offense. I think this game is going to get ugly. So I'm going to go with Gronk because I think Brady might be dropping a 50-burger here.
Ooh, a 50 burger. Yeah, I'm going to go with Gronk as well. I also like Gronk props today because we're not getting like any love on the money line whatsoever for the
Not
Bucs.
At all.
So give me really to get some value back. It's like at minus 700, minus 750. Give me a Gronk touchdown. Give me a Rojo touchdown and give me a Buccaneers win. I don't know how else to make money in that game other than maybe betting the under because the Falcons don't show up, or do I bet the over because I'm betting that the Falcons do? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's something to bet live that game once the numbers start to crank down a little bit. As minus 700.
That's kind of what I've been doing too. Is like these games that are big, like lopsided, because money line you can't get anything, and the spread is too crazy because it's double digits. I always go heavy on the same game parlays, like the props you were talking about, because that stuff I feel good about, and the odds pay out the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can get something live, I mean, let's say Falcons score the first touchdown of the game, that minus 700 is coming down to like -2.
Yep.
Just wait for something crazy to happen in the first quarter, and you'll get better value. All right, let's move on here. We're going to jump into our love-hate picks for the week. We're missing Nick today. If someone put out a APB on Nick, and we don't know where he's at, but we'll get you his love-hate if he jumps in. You go ahead with your first love picks. We're both just going to go through a couple of picks here and then jump into our week 2 matchups.
Cool. So I love this week Derrick Henry. I think the Titans aren't going to have a bad week on offense back-to-back. That offense goes through Henry, and I think they're going to make an effort to make sure they control the game early. So I think he's going to have a solid game. Second player that I like this week is Jamar Chase. I know a lot of people were, giving the Bengals shit for not taking Penei Sewell, but they were pretty quiet last week when, Chase and Burrow picked up where they left off. And unfortunately against our Bears, I know we'll talk about the game again a little bit later, but secondary scares the shit out of me. Chase is a big playmaker. I could easily see him. He's going to have his opportunities, and Burrows and him, you can see that they're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely love those. I expect Derrick Henry to bounce back this week, and Jamar Chase should be a very friendly target for Joe Burrow up against the Bears, whose secondary also was not very good last week. Did you see Joe Burrow come into his presser after that game? He sits down. No. The first thing he says, because Jamar Chase was doing the interview right before, he's like, "What happened? I thought he couldn't catch anything." There's no questions. There's no prompt whatsoever. He just sits down and says, "What happened?"
I love Joe Burrow, man. Joe Burrow's a bad dude, man. I love Joe Burrow, and that's his buddy too. Like people were overblowing that stuff, like, "Oh, he needs to catch an NFL college." I'm like, dude, this guy's a baller. Like, let him play. Sunday, he's made for Sundays.
Absolutely. I love him. I gotta get a jersey out of both of them. To be honest, I want to get a Chase and a Burrow jersey. Too much drip not to have it. I mean, come on now.
Seriously, the 9-1, of course.
We got Quinn Sullivan in the chat. 12-team half-point PPR. Who should I start at flex? Christian Kirk versus the Vikings, Bryan Edwards versus Steelers, or Russell Gage at Tampa? This might be the easiest one of the day. I'm going Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the other two, I think the matchups are bad. I think Kirk makes the most sense. And he had a pretty solid week last week, if I remember correctly. He was pretty involved.
Yeah, I mean, Edwards literally had no value until like under 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter and in overtime in that game up against the Ravens. I'm staying away. But shout out for him being on your roster. I mean, you got some big balls putting Bryan Edwards on your team in a 12-team league. So tip of the cap, sir. Tip of the cap. My love list, I'm going with Kenny Gainwell this week. Found pay dirt in week 1, 9 carries, 37 yards, and a couple of catches. If you've been watching this program all summer long, you've been hearing me bang that Kenny Gainwell drum, saying he's going to be the next Austin Eckler. Nick Sirianni really likes this guy. He's going to have an active role this week, very similar to what you would assume of like a Nyheim Hines in a tough matchup up against the Rams. It's going to be very similar for Gainwell up against the 49ers. I am starting him in a 20-team league. Obviously, it's a little bit deeper this week, but I am starting Kenny Gainwell. I am all in, have been all in on him since he was drafted to the Eagles. In my opinion, he's gonna leapfrog Miles Sanders at some point this year. My next player that I really love this week is DJ Moore. I know I was talking about how Robbie Anderson could have a hard time, but opposite of him, DJ Moore is going to be getting anywhere from 7 to 9 catches this week, 80 to 100 yards, maybe even pay dirt. Really love him this week in that matchup. I think it's Paulson Adebo. Third-round rookie for the Saints, who had a great week last week. He was 1 for 7, shutting down guys like Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, MVS, but I think MVS actually had a nice play downfield on him. Regardless, I think DJ Moore is going to have a great game tonight. He's going to be the wide receiver that gets the most targets for Carolina this week. So definitely firing up DJ Moore. Who are your hate players for this week, Emron? Who are your 2 guys that you are absolutely not starting, completely fading in week 2?
Yeah, so number 1, I agree with our guy Steve on his article with Brandon Ayuk, which, I mean, this is a really good matchup for him. The secondary for the Eagles, it's okay, but, there's definitely a decent matchup. But first round pick a couple years ago of the Niners and, MIA last week, right? What the hell's going on? He's just kind of a healthy scratch. It's kind of worrisome. So it's, until things get set out, I got to sit on him. And unfortunately, he was, I think, a decently high pick, right? Probably like the early, 6, 7, 8 round range. So you have no idea what's going to go on. He could go off for 100 yards today, or he could be another goose egg. So you can't risk that. Second, it's unfortunate. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire. You're thinking the Chiefs, arguably one of the best offenses in the NFL. The running back in that team should be eating. He should be top 3 every week, right? He can catch, he can run, and it's just. And he also was a former first-round pick, so you thought they invested so highly in him when they could have went O-line or defense that they're going to use him, and it's just not there. You thought the rookie year, they were just trying to do some stuff on the fly. They brought in Le'Veon Bell, but it's just I got to see it to believe it, and I'm just not seeing it now, and it's unfortunate.
So I remember when he was drafted, it was, I don't know if this is like rumor oriented or if it's just kind of like, kind of an assumption, but wasn't Patrick Mahomes supposedly like really involved in that pick?
Yes, I heard that. I remember hearing that. So
maybe we don't do that again.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like Clyde Edwards-Hilaire is not playing out to, what we projected him to be, right? I was saying like, yeah, sure, end of the first round, beginning of the second last year. No, that was wrong. But I saw people leaping for him in like the top 5 last year. Like it was crazy. I wasn't a buyer or advocate for him this offseason. I'm still not until I see it. And honestly, like they just like a revolving door there. What I've seen the past couple of years at running back, they just like a revolving door. And honestly, I think they'd be willing to take Dame Williams back at this point, with how bleak it's looking back there. So yeah, I like fading CEH this week as well. My fades and hates are Matt, is that a dead body, Ryan, and Corey Davis. So Matt Ryan going up against that stiff secondary and defensive group of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Think that he's going to have a hard time this week. Obviously, we saw Dak Prescott have some success, but we also saw the struggles of Dak Prescott as well. Constantly being hit, constantly being under pressure. And Dak was making those throws under pressure too. Like he was making those completions, but he was getting crushed. Matt Ryan is not that guy, folks.
And he's not
if he
mobile.
Is making the completions, they're out to the flat. They're behind the line of scrimmage, and that's probably going to equate to some loss of yards because that front group is just too much, too fast, too strong. Definitely fading Matt Ryan this week. Corey Davis, I liked him in week 1. I even said to start him, but the matchup is not great up against the Patriots. Running a rookie quarterback up against Bill Belichick, not a smart idea. Not going after his favorite target this week. And you also have Jamison Crowder coming back as well, who I think will probably eat a little bit into the volume and the potential touches for Corey Davis as well. Just not a good matchup. I'm not with it. We will jump into our week 2 matchups now. Let's see. We got little brother Cam in here. Little brother Cam looking for some advice from Big Bro. What do we got? Good morning, Cam. Who would you guys lean on more towards in DFS flex? So DFS question: Cooper Kupp versus Indy, Chris Carson versus the Titans defense. I'm going Cooper Kupp. I think there's more upside there. I think that he can find Pater potentially twice this week.
I'm going to go.
You guys aren't competing against each other here, Emron. So you're free.
We might be. I don't know. We have a weekly contest we do, so I'm not sure if it's that one. But okay. I think either way, I think Kupp's the answer here. I think he could have. I think he's on pace for a really big year with Matt Stafford, and that's what they were kind of hinting at in the broadcast last week. Those two are basically best friends, so I would not be surprised to see Cooper continue with a monster year.
Absolutely. We got John McGlynn in the chat saying Matt Ryan is done. I agree, man. Like he was not a guy that I was looking to invest at all in this year.
No.
And I mean, this may be a team that actually regrets not drafting, Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I mean, Kyle Pitts looks great and everything, but imagine if you kept Julio and you draft Trey Lance or you draft Justin Fields.
Yeah. So Lance was gone, I think, because they picked 4.
Okay.
I agree with you. When I did my mock draft, I thought they were going to take Fields because he's a Georgia guy. He was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, right? I mean,
right. And that's kind of something they've done before, like Todd Gurley. That's not
it just made no sense to me why they passed him up because Ryan at best had maybe 1 to 2 years left, right? He's like in his mid-30s. I think that's going to be something they regret for a while because that offense could have been filthy with Fields, Julio, Gage, Ridley. I mean,
please, Matt Ryan, just like 13 targets, 11 catches for Ridley, and I don't even care if it's 80 yards. Just everything up the middle, please. Slot to Ridley, please.
Yep.
It's killing me because I'm still so high on Calvin Ridley. It's so hard not to be,
Great talent.
All right, so we're going to jump into our previews now. Everybody, please feel free to keep throwing flex questions at us. Anything you have, DFS, throw them in the chat. We'll get them up on the board and we will go over them. But right now, we're jumping into our week 2 preview. First up, we've got the Saints traveling to Carolina, coming in as road favorites, -3.5 on the spread, -170 on the money line. Plus option for the Panthers is paying +150. Over under is at 44.5. I really like the over and the Saints here, but I probably want to stay away from the spread. That's how I feel. What do you think?
I'm same here. I actually like the under in this game. I think it's going to be a tougher matchup.
Okay.
But I do think the Panthers, I think it's a divisional rivalry. I think they're going to keep this game close. I think they might cover, but I do think the Saints are going to win. It's going to be a close one.
Yeah, I don't know about a close one. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really want to touch the spread.
Yeah.
The Panthers, I think giving them +150, honestly, I feel like is a bit of an overreaction, plus the home field advantage as well. I think that the Saints are still going to be far better. It's just the CMC factor and DJ Moore factor. Like, their offense on paper actually looks a little bit more explosive because you're missing, Michael Thomas, right? But I still think that Alvin Kamara is going to rip and tear today. Yeah, give me the Saints to win money line, and I'm going to take the over. Blake, per usual, fuck the Panthers. Blake is referring to when the Panthers busted a 13-game parlay for me 2 years ago, and then I was getting ready to make T-shirts. Fuck the Panthers. That was a Kyle Allen offense that should have beat up Green Bay. We got John back in the chat saying Miles Sanders or Julio Jones. That's a pretty tough one. I really like Julio Jones to bounce back, but Miles Sanders should probably be pretty active in PPR. I think he probably gets 4 or 5 catches this week. But I also really like Kenny Gainwell as well. Man, that's a tough one. I guess I'll go Miles Sanders.
I'm going to go Julio.
Okay, well, kind of a split there, John. Hope maybe that helps. Probably did. We got Jim asking, which 2 guys are you rolling with? Woods, Jefferson, or Sutton? Not Sutton for me, man. I like Teddy Bridgewater. Looks like he's going to have a pretty solid year in Denver, but I'm not rolling with Sutton. Those offenses with the Vikings and the Rams are just far more explosive. Debo or AB? That's a real tough one. I got to go Debo. I'm going
Debo. I'm going AB. I mean, I think they're going to absolutely destroy the Falcons, and I think he's a weapon in that slot. So I'm actually, for the last 2 questions for Jamie, I agree with you, Justin. Woods and Jefferson, I think those are really good matchups, and then I think I'm going AB. I really think the Bucks are about to drop like 50, and I think everybody's going to get one.
I'm a little sad about that. I don't own any Tom Brady, so I'm a little teary-eyed. All right, next up, we got Houston Texans traveling to Cleveland, coming in as road dogs, plus 13.5 on the spread, plus 545 in the money line. Big favorites, heavy favorites in the Cleveland Browns, -725 in the money line. Hate it. Over-under is at 48 points. I'm taking the under, and the Houston Texans to cover. Call me nuts, but I'm gonna take them to cover 13.5. Might buy it up to 15.
Yeah, I hate the double-digit spreads. It's hard to get value in these games, but I think the Browns, they were up by double digits on the Chiefs last week, and the Chiefs have an offense that can come back in a hurry. Bengals don't have that off. I'm sorry, the Texans don't have that offense. I'm actually going to ride with the Browns here. I think the Browns are going to cover. I'm going to go with the under as well because I think their defense is a lot better than the Jags defense, and I think they're going to force Tyrod Taylor to beat him, and he can't. And I think he's going to get baited into some mistakes. So I'm going to go with the Browns to cover and go with the under.
Yeah, I think we underestimated the Houston Texans run game. I mean, having 4 healthy, fresh running backs at any given time, I think we've underestimated that factor in their offense, right? You have Johnson, Lindsey, Ingram, even Rex Burkhead played 13% of the snaps last week. I know that's not a lot. It's nothing to write home about or to get into your fantasy lineup. But when you constantly have a guy that can come on the field and give you, everything he has in his legs, I think we've underestimated that a little bit. And I think they're going to try to, again, use that proponent of their offense to protect the ball, clean up the clock. And I think they will keep it a little bit closer or just score a garbage time touchdown to bring it within 14. So I'm going to take, honestly, I'm not betting my real money on it, full disclosure, but I would take that up to 15 and not lose any sleep over it whatsoever. Next up, we've got the Bengals traveling to Chicago, coming in as plus road dogs, +1 on the spread, +107 on the money line. Over-under is at 44.5. I took this game over 45 in my 12-game parlay. Still like the Bears to win, not touching the spread. What do you think?
Yeah, I think when it gets down to +1, -1, it's just might as well just go money line. There's no value there. Yeah. So I'll go with the Bears. I think they should be able to win this one at home. I don't feel great about it. I really don't, especially with the defense. You're not sure if last week is just, an exaggeration because they're playing one of the best teams in the NFL, one of the best offensive defenses. Bengals offense can score too. If that defense is anything like it was last week, I do think the Bengals could win. I'm going to go with the Bears, but I think this is going to be a little tough watching this one. It could be some big plays for the Bengals.
I did not put the Bears into my 12-game parlay to win.
So why
I put the over for a reason. Yeah.
I think that over is going to hit too. I think last week it hit late. I think, with their defense, I think everybody's still thinking that's the same defense. That's the shutdown defense. It looks like it has a lot more holes. So I expect, unfortunately, at least one big Bengal touchdown today. Yeah,
I do as well. Probably to Jamar Chase. Next up, we've got the Raiders coming in to Pittsburgh, road dogs, +6 on the spread, +215 on the money line. Steelers are paying -255 on the money line. Over-under is at 46.5. I actually like the Raiders to cover this one. They absolutely would not go away on Monday night up against the Ravens, who, prior to all these injuries, I would say were a better team than the Steelers. I certainly picked the Ravens to win the division when fully healthy. But at the same time, I think the Raiders are going to be passing a lot. I think they can cover the 6. I think it's wiser to probably buy it up to 7 or maybe even 7.5. But I won't put them on the money line. I still like the Steelers to win, and I like the over 46.5. I think that Carr is going to be passing to his running backs a lot. The Steelers are coming home. You got Ben at home. I think he's going to have a better game than he did up against Buffalo. So I like a high-scoring game and the Steelers win and the Raiders to cover. What say you, sir?
I'm actually going to go with the Steelers to cover. So the Raiders did have that big week 1 win against the Ravens, but I think it's a short week for them, and they're going to the East Coast. So I never liked those odds, and I think they're going to, I think they had a similar situation to this last year where they had a big win and they had to go to the East Coast the following week, and they laid an egg. So I'm going to go with the Raiders to actually take the loss this week, and I think the Steelers will cover. I do think the over will hit in this game. I think it's a little bit low for the way these teams match up.
Okay. Wait, you say it was going to go to the under?
I think the over. No, the over.
Oh, the over. Okay, I got you.
I think the over will hit, but I think the Steelers are going to cover. I think they're going to light up that defense.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if they create a lot of separation early, I could see it, but I think the Raiders are just going to constantly be coming back. I mean, quick, easy completions. He's going to be hitting Drake a lot. Hunter third down Renfro apparently is a thing now. I mean, they're saying this dude's name on like national broadcast. Also, Braxton Berrios had a nice little week in week 1 too. We may have to jump on some Braxton Berrios props today. I don't know. Let's jump back over to the chat really quick here because we got some questions stacking up. We got a Chase anytime touchdown. I like that. He didn't score one in week 1. So I don't know what the odds are there, Blake, but I really like that. Team out of nowhere, 1.5 point tight end premium league. Would you start Terrace Marshall or Anthony Fisker? You know what? Honestly, I don't know Marshall's production from week 1, but I would still probably go with him just because I think Roby Anderson's going to be, he's going to be stuck in the mud with Marshawn Lattimore this week. What do you think, Emron?
I'm going to go Ferkser.
Okay. Finds Pater tight end, touchdown dependent or what?
I think it's going to be touchdown dependent, but I think when they get down in the red zone, if they don't run it, I could see him, the defense just losing track of him. So I like him for a sneaky touchdown.
Okay, sounds good. We got Nick in the chat, says, stuck in a running back hell and have to start one in standard. Ugh. Well, you're playing standard, pal. That's tough. Dylan for the Packers, Pollard for Dallas, Williams for the Chiefs, or Madison for the Vikings. You are in hell, sir. Oh, my God. All handcuffs. Fuck my life. Yeah, well, let's go that far. I mean, we're still talking ball here on a Sunday. We're in week 2, baby. A lot to be excited about, but this is a tough one. If you get this right, it's going to really make your week. You're going to go nuts. I'm going Williams.
I'm going to go Pollard. I think, it's a high-scoring game. No Gallup. I mean, he's explosive. I mean, I don't feel great about it, but I'm just going off of opportunity here. I think he can maybe break something, maybe get a touchdown. It's going to be a shootout. All the others, I don't really like it. Madison, I don't think he's that good. Williams could. It's just, a could there. Dylan, I don't know. I mean, so I'd go with Pollard. I don't feel great about it, but I think Pollard's got I'm looking at who can get you a touchdown. It's probably going to be Pollard.
I don't know. I think I trust I definitely expect Dallas to be in the red zone, but I think Williams gets a touchdown this week too. I mean, Pollard could as well. It's a good matchup. There should be plenty of opportunity, but KC, they lean on Williams at times, and if Clyde Edwards-Hilaire isn't getting it done, they're not shy about pulling him. So I like Williams a lot there. Carr over on the passing yards. Blake, I don't know the number, but I'd be interested in it. 244, 255. I think those are decent numbers. I think he can hit the overs on those.
Yep.
Nick coming back saying watching on YouTube and Facebook, boosting the numbers. Let's go, Nick.
Hey, appreciate
big time
that, bud.
fan pal. I love it. Blake's with Pollard on your pick there, Nick. we'll see what we get out of it. I really like Williams. Looks like Emron and Blake both like Pollard. So thanks for the feedback. We appreciate it as well, sir. Appreciate you doubling down on the tunage. Really appreciate that. Next up, Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. Buffalo traveling to Miami. Road favorites, -192 on the money line, -3 on the spread. Over-under is at 47.5, which I think is a very sneaky number. Not betting it. I actually think the Bills can hit the under, stifling the Miami Dolphins. Bills win and cover. What do you got, Emron?
I agree. I think Bills are going to win this game. They're going to cover. I don't see them going down to 0-2. I just don't. Miami won last week. Kind of part of it was luck with that late turnover against the Patriots. So I think the Bills Bills will get back on track this week.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think they're going to create separation early. I think they're going to make a point of it to pass more than they're running to start this game and to really get up ahead by a lot on a road game, because it's not necessarily fun playing in Miami right now, like with this weather. It's coming to the end of summer, a lot of humidity, right? So I don't think they're going to love playing down there. I think they're going to want to get up early. Really quick, what do you think about who has more fantasy points this week? Devin Singletary or Zach Moss, who is active this week? Singletary had a pretty good week 1.
I'm going to go with Singletary. They deactivated Moss last week, and that was for a reason. And you kind of saw what Devin Singletary did without him. So I just, the team doesn't even have confidence in Zach Moss. So how could I have confidence in Zach Moss, right?
Right. Well, they're bringing him back in the lineup. I don't know if it was situational, if something had happened that week, something behind the scenes. I don't know. Maybe it was a personal thing too. We have no idea. So I'm going to go Singletary as well. But where I had him in my lineups last week, I am pulling him back because I expect there to be, more split work, right? I definitely, myself, full admission, I overreacted to Zach Moss being out last week. So I pulled Devin Singletary into my lineup, and I put him in my flex. And because I was I had more receivers starting. I had 3 receivers, and then I had one in my flex. I wound up benching Deebo Samuel. So that overreaction really hurt me. I probably wouldn't have won my matchup because I got blown out. And Josh Allen was my quarterback. He didn't play very well. And I was kind of hoping on that too, like, maybe I'll double dip with some Devin Singletary and Josh Allen. It wasn't a good combination, and that overreaction hurt me. It didn't necessarily lose me my week, but it definitely held me back from being close to winning it. That's for sure.
Right.
We're in the chat here. We got Jacob Onder 209, Drake, James Robinson, or Tyson Williams. I am going Kenyon Drake this week. I've been banging his drum all episode. Emron has as well, so that's a clean sweep there. Blake likes the Diggs pay dirt prop today. I like that as well. And Josh Allen has more. He definitely has more to offer for sure than he did in week 1. So hopefully that's the case this week. I am starting him again. I was teetering between Jameis Winston and Josh Allen. I am not overreacting. I am keeping Allen in my lineup.
Yep.
All right, next up, we've got one of our favorite games of the week, Rams and the Colts, -3.5 in favor of the road Los Angeles Rams, -193 on the money line, Colts +168 on the money line. Over-under is at 48 points. I actually like the under here. I'm not certain that the Colts are going to, answer the call as far as scoring like multiple touchdowns in this one. I think it's a big field goal game for the Colts at home. So give me the Rams. I don't love the 3.5. I'd prefer 3, but I'll take it. Cover, win, and the under 48.
Yeah, I think the Rams will win. I don't think they'll cover. I think this is going to be a sneaky game where the Colts, I think, are going to try to sneak around. But I think they will win. I don't think it's going to be high scoring at all. I think the defense are decent enough where it's going to be a little bit of an ugly game. But I think the Rams are going to win. I think they're just a better team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're a better team as well. And the Colts are just beat up, man. They got a hobbled quarterback. They've got strong running backs, but the offensive line is beat up. The wide receivers are beat up. Defense is beat up. So I'm going all in on the Rams. I like them to just straight up win today. That's my pick in like my 12 gamer is just them to win straight up. And I think you're right. There's something fishy about that half point on the spread. I don't like it. I'm going to stay away from the spread. I would prefer 3, just 3 even.
Yep.
Next up, we've got the 49ers and the Eagles. My favorite game of the week. Driscoll just jumped into the chat here. Perfect timing as soon as we tune into the Eagles, so we can listen to our Eagles hate for the week. Maybe you're opposite, but the Niners -3 is probably one of my favorite picks of the week.
I don't like it. I think the Eagles are getting a lot of value here. I think the Niners, everybody's forgetting that team completely shit the bed and cost some people money last week in the fourth quarter. They gave up, I think, 16 points in 4 minutes. They were up by 24, and then they failed to cover because they just laid an egg. And I think the Eagles, I think, are heavily underrated as well. I think Jalen Hurts in that offense is going to be a problem. Niners, they stayed, they're playing back-to-back, games on the what's it called? Why am I blanking on this? On the East Coast. Well, actually, Midwest and East Coast in lines. But I think the Eagles are going to cover here, and I think they might win. I did pick the Niners to win, but I think the Niners are getting overvalued here quite a bit because their defense, they don't have Robert Saleh anymore. It's not automatically a shutdown defense. It's still decent, but I think the Niners are going to win, but the Eagles are going to make this very close, and they might even win out. So I'll take the Eagles to cover, but do not be surprised if they win.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from there with the 49ers play at the back end of that game. To me, that was parking the bus gone wrong. You know what I mean? Like, they were a little bit too conservative, and I don't think that they'll make that mistake again. They've got a lot of playmakers on defense. I think that the +3 and the +132 at home is actually too good a value for the Eagles, and it's a bit of an overreaction for their win up against the Falcons. They ripped them a new one. Their offense, or I'm sorry, their defense didn't allow a touchdown. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. You have a very intricate running offense that Shanahan runs there. You have Garoppolo and Lance there. They're not afraid to throw Lance on the field. He threw a touchdown in week 1. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have a bad game. He fumbled the first snap of the game. That was bad. But, do we put that all on him? You put it on the center a little bit. It's not just one guy's fault, right? Didn't throw an interception, kept a clean pocket, was able to get the ball out really quick. I don't know. I feel like the Eagles getting, I feel like they're trying to trap us here with giving us that inviting of a number of +3. I think it should be like 7, 6, 6.5, somewhere in that range. I really like the under 49 points. What about yourself?
Yeah, I could take the under.
All right.
I think 49 is slightly high.
We agree on that. Let's jump into the chat here, catch up a little bit. We got Blake asking MVS or Van Jefferson. I like MVS. He was targeted downfield quite a bit. I think he had at least 5 targets downfield. That was one of my advanced stat tweets this week. So I'm going MVS over Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson made a big play up against the Bears last week, but he's going to be big play dependent, touchdown dependent. I think MVS probably gets more steady production.
And the Packers are playing the Lions tomorrow night. Aaron Rodgers got embarrassed. Wouldn't want to be a Lions defender tomorrow night.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna bounce back. They're gonna be fine. We got Cam back in the chat. We might be in the same league here, so maybe he maybe this is where you give him the wrong answer, Cam. I don't know.
God.
Or
give me some Pepto-Bismol, man. This is disgusting.
Yeah, what were you doing, Cam? What drafting these two guys? Andy Dalton or Matt Ryan? You got to watch more Hizzy over the summer, man. Come on now.
Making me look bad.
I mean, that's bad. I mean, that's really bad. I guess I go Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I have to. Ryan against the Bucs defense. I mean, the thing that sucks about Dalton is he might get pulled in the middle of the game.
I honestly feel like you're going to see Matt Ryan fall to the ground and just cradle himself. He can't run to protect himself. He has no legs to protect his upper body.
They're going to tee off on him, and that's the scary part. That Bucs defense is just I just really feel bad for the guy. I generally just feel bad for the guy. He's about to get his ass kicked.
They're going to be all over him this week. All over him. We got Jacob Ander back in the chat saying thoughts on Sutton this week with no Judy. Other options, I have Boyd and Marvin Jones. I think Emron likes Boyd, and I would like Marvin Jones over Sutton.
I like Boyd. I think Boyd's got a really good matchup.
He does, but Boyd was used a ton in blocking situations last week, and that's just where I kind of see the downside for him is because the offensive line is still questionable. They really don't have like Uzama and who's the other? Is it Tyler Kroft? Is he the other?
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of the design. So last week, right. The Vikings outside corner situation is absolute garbage, and Higgins had a touchdown and Chase had the big touchdown. So Boyd wasn't used as much, right? I think he only had like 30 yards. This week, the Bears have Jalen Johnson, who's all right, but the slot is an absolute mess, and that's where Boyd eats. And I think I'm looking at the matchup, so I'm going to probably still stick with the Boyd.
Yeah, I'm probably going to stick with Marvin Jones. I mean, I've been banging the Chenal drum all episode, but I still feel like Marvin Jones and Chenal are the safer options to start in Jacksonville over DJ Shark. I know Shark found the end zone last week, but he missed a lot of passes, a lot of passes. Driscoll with the sneaky anytime props jumping in the chat. Juwan Johnson at +440 and Peyton Barber +250. Got to like those odds, man. Got to like those.
I like both of them. I like both of them. Barber scoring a touchdown would be perfect after, Kenyon Drake has a 90-yard touchdown drive on the 1-yard line. Gruden's like, yeah, fuck you guys. Okay, Peyton Barber, go in.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson's got that opportunity to be the Jimmy Graham of 2021. They only used him 19% of the time last week. It's not a lot of volume, less than a quarter of the time, but he had 2 touchdowns. Like
he's a big dude
in the red zone.
Big dude.
We kept the Eagles hate classy at least.
Hey, Driscoll, I was giving them love. I was giving them a lot of love.
Emron was all about the love.
I think they might win. That would be a big upset today. I like the Chase prop too. I think the 4.5. I could see the 5. 5 seems like a doable number.
That's a very, very doable number. Cole Kmet in that game I have as my best bet, over 3.5 catches as well. All right, let's move on here. Next up, we've got the Broncos versus the Jags. I think we're going to be keeping this one pretty quick. We've got Denver Broncos coming in as road favorites, -6 on the spread, -255 on the money line. Over-under is at 45 points. I think the over and the under is probably the trickiest part here. I think the Broncos can cover. I think they can win. The total is very up in the air for me because of what we saw out of Jacksonville, doing nothing early on and then lightning out of a bottle at the end of that game. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Broncos to cover. You know, like we were talking about earlier with Trevor Lawrence, he struggled a lot against the Texans' lowly defense. He threw 3 interceptions. The Broncos have a top 5 defense, you know, at every level. Secondary solid, pass rush. I think he's going to throw a couple more picks this week. I think they're going to cover. I'm going to go with the under because I think their defense is going to keep him more in contain.
That seems like the pick to make. I just can't trust the Jags. I mean, they have playmakers. Like, not using James Robinson doesn't make James Robinson a bad football player. That just makes Urban Meyer a bad operator, bad play caller. Like,
he's an idiot.
It's really frustrating, especially watching the first 4 drives last week of them not running the ball is infuriating. Like, bro, this is the NFL. Like, this isn't the SEC anymore. Like, grow up. Come on, man.
So aggravating.
There's really not much to say about this game. I mean, I don't like Jaguars props. I don't like Broncos props, to be honest with you. I like Javonte Williams in this matchup. He's a sneaky option that I like this week. Think he could actually get more playing time than Melvin Gordon in garbage time, but also like Melvin Gordon to find the end zone. So I'm not betting anything on this game.
No, this game's probably going to be like 24-9. Broncos are going to win. It's going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, I probably put the Broncos in my 12 gamer just because, but man, if they blow it for me, I'll lose my shit. I will lose it. We got Greg in the chat saying start 2. We got Gaskin, Waddle, Henderson, Jamal Williams, Elijah Mitchell, PPR. That's a tough one. I like Henderson and Waddle, Gaskin, Waddle, Gaskin, Waddle, Gaskin.
I'm going to actually go Henderson. I'm going to go Henderson and Jamal Williams. You know, with the Lions, we know the Lions don't have a lot of receiving options. I think Williams had 9 catches last week, I think. They're dumping it down quite a bit to him and Swift along with Hawkinson. So give me Henderson. He's got a carved out role. And I think Jamal Williams, I think the Lions are going to get their ass kicked tomorrow. So they're going to be chasing a lot. So a lot of dump downs, a little revenge game. He might even get a touchdown.
Was your second option Waddle or Henderson?
Henderson.
Okay, got you. So yeah, we're both going double running back. So stick with that. You know, maybe just rule out Waddle and pick your best backs in your opinion. I like Gaskin over Williams. I think he can find pay dirt. Williams might be able to get the catches, but I think Gaskin can get less catches, but find the end zone. We got Air White 54 in the chat saying Hunt, Henderson, Drake, PPR. That's a toughy one. I like Henderson.
I like Drake. I like Drake because I think for Hunt, I think he's going to have opportunities, but I think what's going to happen is Chubb's just going to run the ball. I think Drake. I think I'm just sticking true to my prediction. I think the Raiders are going to be chasing. That's a lot of dump downs for Drake.
I see Henderson having his backups, like Sony Michel. I forgot the other guy's name now already. Who was the third guy that we were all or everybody was getting excited about?
God, it's not Jake Funk. It's the other guy.
No, it's the other guy.
Not Tony Jones. No, that's easy.
No, Tony Jones is the
Saints guy. Hold on one second.
Saints guy. Yeah.
No, it is Jake Funk.
Shit, it's Jake Funk behind Sony Michel.
Hey, local guy. He's from Moco.
Yeah, but still not expecting any Jake Funk love tonight. So I just see Henderson having his backups eat into his workload the least. So that's why I'm going Henderson. Driscoll staying away from all Jags props. Attaboy. Papa don't preach. My other league PPR: Corey Davis or Christian Kirk. I am fading Corey Davis this week.
Same. Kirk.
Corey Davis this week.
Give me Kirk.
Christian Kirk. Thank you, Nick. We got Ernest in here saying, morning, guys, just to hear some convo on it. T. Higgins versus Devonta Smith. Half-point PPR. Absolutely love it. I'm probably going T. Higgins there. He looked really good in week 1. But I'm also, again, not the Eagles guy here, so,
Yeah, I like Higgins, but I don't think – I think all 3 receivers for the Bengals can't eat this week. I think this is a Chase and Boyd week. I'd go with Devonta Smith. I think we saw the Niners defense last week. Smith has the speed, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, Smith looked good in week 1, but T. Higgins looked really good as well. So I'm still leaning T. Higgins. I like what he has to offer. DJ Moore or Allen Robinson are his other two.
Start both. Yeah.
Start both of them, but Allen Robinson in a tough spot with Dalton in the lineup. We're both Bears fans here, so we're just praying for Fields. And if he's on the field, hey, A-Rob's going to be lighting it up.
Yep.
Yeah, but keep it simple there. Definitely start A-Rob. You don't want to bench him. He was probably your first or second round pick. Yep. All right, next up, we've got the Patriots and the Jets. Not starting Zach Wilson this week, FYI, not running rookie QBs into the Bill Belichick or the Patriots. Patriots -6 on the spread. Road favorites, -253 on the money line, plus 213, for the Jets. At home, over-under is at 42.5. It's a really low number, Emron. I'm feeling the under, because typically when it's that low, you just go that low. But I don't know. I'm kind of trusting the Patriots to run up the score here. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the under. Usually when you see these games, you were like, oh, they're going to score 43. They're not. The Jets offense is going to be a mess, especially without Mekhi back then now. The Patriots should have won last week. They had that late turnover. So I think the Jets are going to take another loss this week. I don't know how they're going to muster some offense. I could see Wilson struggling quite a bit. So let me go with the under. Patriots are covering the under.
The math is telling me to go to the under. Usually when it's that low, it's that low. But I did take the over on Monday night, and that was pretty low too. So I don't know. I'm going to take the over. I think the Patriots get up more offense in this game than we're expecting, maybe even 30 points. And I think the Jets can probably still score 12 to 14.
Right.
Next up, we've got the Vikings traveling to Arizona, big time game, and actually all these games coming down here, very high totals, a lot of high octane offenses. Vikings traveling to Arizona, road dogs, plus 3.5 on the spread, plus 175 on the money line. Over under is 50.5 points. Cardinals paying out -205 at home on the money line. I like the Cardinals a lot here, but this is going to be a close one. I think the Vikings can cover. What do you think?
What is the line now again?
3.5.
3.5. I think the Vikings can cover, but I think the Cardinals are going to win outright. I think the over is going to hit. I think there's going to be a shootout.
Exactly what you just said. Exactly what you said. Vikings cover, Cardinals win, and we go to the over. I still think that the Vikings are going to come out a little bit more conservative like they did last week. So I think that will keep the scoring low to start. But with a lot of these games that we saw in week one, there were some slow starts that finished with the over. So I still like the Cardinals a lot there. I love all my Cardinal props, Edmonds props, Kyler rushing props. I think he was at like 40 or so yards. Was that one of your picks earlier, right?
Which one was that? The Kyler prop, the rushing prop. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I definitely want to attack Kyler's props today. Even his passing, he's probably at 1.5 on the touchdown. But it's probably paying like -243 or something dumb like that. We got Air White 54 back in the chat. So if it's Henderson, who do you go with at flex? Hunt, Drake, Kirk, Boyd, Galladay. Wow, a lot of options there, White. Lot of options. You going with the certified lover boy?
I'm going, man. I know my brother's not going to like hearing that, but yeah, I'm going with Drake. He's a big Kanye fan, but yeah, I'm going with Drake. I think he's got I think he's going to be a really, really big part of the offense today, rushing and receiving. So you're getting two opportunities at those points, right? So I got to go with that.
If you're just going off of snap percentage, the options here, in my opinion, should be Drake or Callaway. I think Callaway's in line for a bigger week, but I'm not starting him. I'm definitely going Drake. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Kirk, he had a great game in week one, but he played less than AJ Green. Not cool. Outproduced him by a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like AJ Green was like 2 for 6. Kirk was like 5 for 6 with 2 touchdowns, like catching a freaking Mickey Mantle ball over his freaking head. It's crazy. Let's see if we already had that on there. Let's go. I mean, thanks so much. Yeah, we love you guys. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you coming by this morning. If you haven't already, smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. Let's go. Next up, we've got a brutal murder. Atlanta is at a dead body. Falcons +13 on the spread. Road dogs going to Tampa +530 on the money line. Over-unders at 51.5 points. I don't trust the over, Emron. I am taking the under. Might be my best pick in this game because where else are you getting value? Also not touching the spread. Screw that spread.
Yeah, I'm going to probably stick with the under here as well. I think that last week, and usually this happens every year in the NFL, I guess the easiest way to put the market corrects itself. Some of these totals are kind of all over. We don't like I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. What game was this?
We might need a Drake and Yeezy debate on the show one of these days. We might have to get Cam in here because I just don't know about all that, Cam.
I wasn't expecting to see that pop up on my screen. So I was saying, Yeah, I think the market corrects itself. Like we were just talking about with the Patriots and Jets game, it seemed too low. Some of these games seem too high, but they're hitting. So I'm going to stick with the under here. And I'm sorry, what game was it again? I just lose my train of thought.
Falcons Bucks.
Yeah, Falcons Bucks. Yeah, I really don't. I do blame my brother. Again, like I said earlier, I really don't have faith in the Falcons at all. If they couldn't score a touchdown against the Eagles, I think this game is going to be bad. I don't know if they're going to get shut out, but I don't see them more than getting a couple of field goals.
If you don't score a touchdown up against the Eagles, what do you expect to do up against Tampa? I mean,
seriously,
I guess you pass a lot to Mike Davis. You know, last year that's how the Bears had success against them. That was a kind of an Achilles heel of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, is that you could pass to the running back a lot against them. But even if Mike Davis has 8 to 10 catches this week, I don't think he's not going to do a lot with it after the catch. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
I don't trust them whatsoever. 10 points or less is where I'd put them. I would definitely be in on taking the under on team points for the Falcons. I think that's another really good pick, is under their team points, which for some reason this doesn't want to show me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what it was.
Yeah, it doesn't have it up. It has my betting thing up next.
Whatever it is, under.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably like 13 or 14
under.
points. I bet it's like 13 and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely take the under. Next up, another exciting game. It's Tennessee Titans looking to bounce back, traveling to Seattle, plus 6.5 on the spread, plus 235. Road dogs in Seattle. Seattle paying minus 280 as a money line pick. Over under is at 53.5 here. Too tall a number, too good to be true. What do you think?
Nope, I think it's just right. I think we're going to hit the over here, and I think the Titans, I'm shocked at 6.5. I think this is another one of those overreactions from week one where they got their ass kicked. But if you watch the game, a lot of turnovers in their own. I think there's a defensive touchdown too. Game got out of hand. It's not that the offense was not doing its well, but there's a lot of context that's being missed there. So 6.5, give me the Titans all day. I think the Seahawks will win, but 6.5 is too much. It's going to be a really high-scoring game. There's going to be a lot of points going back and forth.
I agree, but just for safety, take it up to 7. Just take it up to 7.
That hook, man.
You'll probably get from minus 113 to like minus 120, 125. That's still a great pick. I agree with you. That's definitely an overreaction. This game should be 2.5, 3 points, maybe even closer, maybe even 1, similar like the Bears and the Bengals, in my opinion, because the Titans are not that bad, and the Seattle Seahawks defense is not as good as we think it is. Like they've lost some pieces. They've definitely lost a step. Bobby Wagner's not getting any younger. They lost KJ Wright. Like, I don't think that they're world beaters on defense, and I think the Titans are definitely going to come to play this week after a pretty brutal showing in week 1. So yeah, I take the over as well. Give me the 53.5. Again, I think it's probably a circumstance where you want to pull it down a number just to play it safe. Because at the same time, the Seahawks, they're a weird team, man. Like, they had the identity of like that full throttle downfield pass attacking team, like in last week, right? Similar to the first half of last year, but then at random points they're just putting the ball into the ground, not touching.
And that's what I was gonna say. That happened last week. With one of my best bets last week was the Cardinals and Titans game, right? And I had the over, and Tennessee obviously didn't show it up. But even with that, I missed it by 1 point. It was 51, not the 52 that we needed. So it's just, shit like that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one where I really like moving it up to the 7, and I really like taking it down to like 52.5 or 53 even, whatever it is. So
ease it up.
Yeah, because these books, they know what they're doing, guys.
Yep.
They make more money at this than anyone. Next up, we've got about 3 games left here. We got Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Chargers, another team looking to bounce back, plus 3 on the spread. Road dogs, plus 137 on the money line. Chargers paying minus 157 at home. Over under is at 55 points. This is one I can get behind. No points, no buying up, no buying down. Give me the over. Give me the Cowboys. Cover and win. Cover and win. I know they're beat up right now, but this Chargers defense, like, they're good. They're not bad, we'll say, right? But they are going to be way slower than Tampa Bay. Like, this is kind of like playing the video game and being like, all right, yeah, I can play on very, very hard Mortal Kombat, no problem, right? And then you're like, no, fuck that. That's not fun at all. Bring me down to medium. Bring me down to easy. Bring me down to very easy. This is going to be like going from very hard to medium or very easy, right? Like, it's just 2 different worlds. Things are going to be moving slower. Dak's going to be cleaning up. He's going to be in his bag. Give me the over, and something crazy happens at the end of the game. Cowboys win. 2-minute drill, field goal, something nuts. Give me the Cowboys.
I'm completely opposite on you on this one. I'm completely the opposite. I think I agree with you on the over. I think it's going to be an awesome high-scoring game. It's going to be really fun to watch in the afternoon. I'm going to be really excited. But Cowboys, I'm really concerned. I think it's another team that's getting overvalued from week 1, right? They had a lot of turnovers go their way. I think the Bucs had 5 turnovers last week, right, in the week 1, which is insane to have a team get 5 turnovers and still win. And I think that's a big reason why that game stayed close. And Dallas didn't even cash in on all those turnovers. He had missed field goals instead of touchdowns. And they don't have La'el Collins this week, so Joey Bosa is going to eat. So that's kind of worrisome for me. So they're not as good as the Bucs defense, but Joey Bosa is a bad dude. So I'm going to take the Chargers here to cover and take the over. I think the Cowboys, I think they're getting a little bit too much love from last week.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on those points, and I think we just found our charity bet for the week. By the way,
That's what I was going to say.
I think we just got it here. But going kind of, we'll get back to that in a second too. But going back to Joey Bosa, yeah, Joey Bosa's great. Yeah, little Collins could be out, but Dak was in his bag in week 1 with Shaq Barrett and Ndamukong Suh coming down the barrel every damn play. I mean, that defensive line was all over him. He was making completions like under a second. Literally, like, here's Ndamukong Suh coming down the barrel, going to take me to the ground. I know it's going to happen. Completion 9 yards. You know, same thing. Shaq Barrett coming down the runway. Oh, Cooper down the sideline, 40 yards. Like, I just don't see it. I still see this Chargers defense being a step slower than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Dak's going to be in his bag. So we ready to put 10 on it? We ready to
go for it. I'm good for it. I'm good for it. And also remember, Dallas also doesn't have DeMarcus Lawrence this week. And my boy Rashawn Slater from Northwestern was an animal last week. Shut down Chase Young.
Their defense is also beat up too. Like, I think Casey's going to be out. Wilson might even be out. Yeah, they're beat up. But I think this game's going to be all offense, just period. So if that's what I'm getting, if we're both in on the over, then that means the Cowboys are playing the tune to that game flow. All right. So anyways, me and Emron, everybody here at the Hizzy crew, we're doing charity props this year at the Hizzy. So me and Emron, we're throwing $10 on this game. I'm taking Chargers. He's taking Chargers. I'm taking Cowboys. Straight up, no cover, whatever. Last week, Emron got me. He got me on the Mac Jones prop. I had over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He had the under. But I think I'm going to get you on the Gronk prop, man. We got a Gronk prop. 500 receiving yards. The dude's at 90 already. Like, what the hell is that?
I know, and I picked him again to have a good game earlier in the show, so I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know, but I'm cleaning up Steve. I've got Steve's number. I got him on the Diggs prop on week 1. I got him on the who was it? Was it Terry? No, I got him on the under Kenny Galladay prop on Thursday night, and so far I've only lost to you, and I lost to Chris Robin, our special guest on Thursday. I had Antonio Gibson 100 rushing yards. It's a tall order, but at the end of the day, charity wins. So we would really appreciate any support that you guys could help us with. You can text to the Hizzy to 44-3321 and help us out with our Autism Society for America charity and fundraiser. We would really appreciate it. We got a couple of games here to close it out. KC traveling to Baltimore, coming in road favorites. I would say as always, but last year this same time they came in as road dogs. Minus 3.5 on the spread. Plus 191 or minus 191 on the line. Over unders at 53.5. Yeah, you don't make Patrick Mahomes a plus option ever. Period. No. Where are you at in this one?
Oh, money Mahomes, baby. Money Mahomes. Lamar can't beat Patrick Mahomes. Ravens are depleted. They are at home. They'll put up a fight. The Chiefs are going to win this. I'll take the over. I think this is going to be a high scoring game. I don't know how the Ravens are going to find their offense. It's basically going to be Lamar doing everything by himself as always. But he can, right? Like, Lamar can keep drives alive. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a weapon.
They're not going to run spy schemes on him the entire game. You know what I mean? Like, that's never the case. Like, I love Lamar's overs in this game. I agree with you. Cover, win, over.
Yep.
Pretty simple there. I mean, even like Sammy Watkins, I don't know. Like, I know that you were on him earlier, but I don't know if he's going to have a great game up against the Chiefs. Like, he should get targeted a lot, but I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs, as much as it is a revenge game, they also know a lot about him. So, all right, last one up here. What we got cooking in the chat? We got the little Cam in here. I feel like a punk now that I brought it on the over and Cowboys down to 50. Yeah, I mean, hopefully you didn't lose too much value, but it's still a very, very good bet. So money's money, buddy. Profit's profit. All right, last one up. We got Detroit Lions plus 12 road dogs taking a long journey from Detroit to Green Bay. Plus 430 on the money line. Over under is at 48.5. I like the over here. I like the Packers win, which is paying minus 550. Absolute trash. Minus 12. I don't love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the over here as well because I think Aaron Rodgers he was held to 3 points. We were giving Matt Ryan shit for only putting up 6 against the Eagles. Rodgers and that mighty offense only got 3, so I think they're gonna have a big week this week. They're gonna make up for some lost ground in week 1, so they'll do their part in the over. The Lions, I think they're just going to be one of those annoying ass teams all year. They're just going to find a way to cover and do it late, and I think they'll score enough. But I think Green Bay is going to cover. They're at home this week. They're going to take out a lot of their frustrations and all the shit talking that they've been hearing from the radio. So give me the Packers to cover and the over.
Is this the Devonta Adams 4-touchdown game? It's going to happen this year, but is this it?
Yeah, it is, and I think it could be because you got nothing in week 1, right? So I think this sounds like it's perfect for Aaron Rodgers, right? He had a dud on a Sunday afternoon game. He gets Monday night in week 2 against a terrible defense and a team he owns. I think that's exactly what this looks like.
Yeah, we're just lucky it's not the Bears in this situation because
thank God.
Man,
I've had enough of those. I've had enough of the Rodgers games.
He loves to shit on us, man. Like he loves to be up by 30 at halftime. That's like his thing up against the Bears. So yeah, it could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse. Yeah, I think the Lions can cover. I think they'll cover late, but definitely not picking them to win that game. They had some pleasant surprises in week 1. Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift was a beast. TJ Hawkinson found the end zone. That was awesome. Big TJ guy. Over under 48.5 points. I think we'll go to the over. I think we'll get it. I think there's enough action in that game where the Packers are scoring quickly, giving the Lions a lot of opportunities, a lot of dinks and dunks to those running backs, like you had mentioned earlier. So yeah, I'm in on it. I'm in on it. Excuse me, been holding that one in for a while. Sorry about that. All right. Well, that was the show, everybody. We really appreciate you coming by. Please be sure to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. Before you head out, do you have anything to close us down with, sir?
Let's get some more Justin Fields today. You think he scores another touchdown?
I don't know.
I'll say yeah. I say he throws one this week to Cole Kmet, your boy.
He throws one. Well, yeah, that'd be great. It'd be great if they just fucking started him, man. I don't get it. Over under half a touchdown for Fields. Yeah, sure. I want to take the over. Hopefully, Dalton gets the Tyrod treatment, before the game. That's what we need here.
Stab him in the chest.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, we were trying to bring him back to life, and we killed him.
Yep.
Justin, you're in. All right. Take care. Be well, everybody. Be good. If you can't be good at it. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys. See ya.